We welcome you to one of our specials, the show that celebrates the most important events of the automotive industry from all over the world. Today, we'll go to Pebble Beach in California's county of Monterey to check on the most important classic car shows in the country. An exhibition that displays some of the most expensive cars from around the world, where thousands of fans gather annually. First conducted in 1950, the Pebble Beach Concours d'Elegance includes a series of varied and interesting events, offering the visitors all kinds of activities. Among them, the multi-millionaire auction, the world-renowned Concours d'Elegance, their motoring classic, and the Tour d'Elegance. As you see, we have a lot of material to cover, so we better hurry. This is Specials.
Yes, hi, I'm Nick Waller. I work with the Pebble Beach Concours office here in lovely Pebble Beach in California. I just want to talk to you a little bit about the Concours that we have here. It's been running for 58 years, this is its 58th, always in August. Sometimes you get good weather, sometimes you don't. Today is a little foggy, but we're hoping for great weather, but the sun will shine on these just fantastic cars that come from all over the world. We've got a whole collection of cars ranging from 19th century cars that took part in the London to Brighton veteran run in England, and we've got a number of cars coming over from there, have been shipped over. Some wonderful owners, some fantastic vintage cars from the pre-war period. We've got some wonderful cars coming from Europe. Lancia is a featured mark, Lamborghini is a featured mark. And of course we're featuring General Motors. It's their 100th year this year, their centenary, and we've a fabulous show of Motorama cars, which are just the most futuristic cars that were built in the late 50s and 60s that were on a touring show that toured the United States, showing the design aspects that were being put forward and designed during that time. We've got approaching in and around 200 cars on the field, including the General Motors Motorama show. And it's just the most incredible scenario. We've got a wonderful setting here, obviously, at the Pebble Beach Lodge. And the crowds always come early. That's the key to this event. You come early, you imagine all these cars driving onto the lawn at between 6:30 in the morning and 8:30 in the morning when things really start to get going. It's a magical time with the fog and the paps lifting. It's beautiful.
Yes, my name is John Shirley, and I'm here at Pebble Beach with a 1938 Alfa Romeo HC 2900B closed car coupe that we've owned now for about 4.5 years, and after driving it in a number of events, we decided to do a restoration on the car and bring it and show it, and then we'll go back to driving it again. I had known about this car for some time. The owner I live in Seattle, Washington. The owner lived in Vancouver, British Columbia. He and I had spoken about the car on many occasions, and it was never for sale, but he said, if I ever decide to sell it, I will give you a call. And one day he called me up and said, you have 3 days to make up your mind. I want this much money. And I said, fine. And 3 days later, I drove up and signed the paperwork with him and bought the car. So I'd known about it for a long time. It has a straight 8, 2.9 liter, twin superchargers, twin overhead camshafts, magneto ignition, dry sump. Underneath, it is a total race car. It's exactly the car that they would take to Le Mans, except that There they'd probably increase the compression a little bit and you know, more radical camshafts than they would use in this. But basically, underneath it's a race car, fully independent suspension, a transaxle, so very state of the art for 1938. Well, the company who made this car did the body work is Touring in Italy, and Touring did body work for Alfa Romeo for many years, and then after the war they did body work for Ferrari. So many of the early Ferraris were Touring body cars, and this style that they did dates back into the early 30s. And what Touring did was they developed this super light design where they got rid of wood and they used a tubular form frame that they welded to a box, a box frame with tubular underneath to support the metal, and they skinned it in a lightweight aluminum. So the cars were very light for their day, and that's the reason for this Super Leggera on the side of it, means super lightweight car. We've driven it on events. We did the Mille Miglia in Italy, we did the Alpha 8C Tour in the United States, and we'll do the next Alpha 8C Tour in October. That's going to start in Santa Fe, New Mexico, and be 800 to 1,000 miles of driving. So no, we drive our cars. It's a wonderful car to drive. It's very light steering. It gives you a very secure feeling. It tracks well on the road. It's quite quick. Having fully independent suspension makes it more comfortable than a prior car with just a straight hard axle on it. So it's very nice to drive.
Well, it all started in 1950 when there was a road race, and there are a lot of roads in and around the forest here, and it started as a road race and was a part of the West Coast race season. And alongside of the race meeting, they decided to have a concours. Now, at that time, for the first 3, 4, 5 years, it was mainly for modern cars. It was for new cars that were coming in that year, with a few old ones added on. Then the race meeting was abandoned and the concours took off. And from 1955-56, it became the concours first. Now, obviously, now we have races at Laguna Seca, which has taken on that mantle.
Don't move from your seat. We'll be back after this pause with much more Pebble Beach. If you're a fan of the classics, you can't miss the rest.